You might be aware about some pedagogies to empower children and youth to flourish, to develop their strengths and essential life skills. And you want to do it in community because it's more fun. We can share responsibilities. We can learn and grow from each other. And this all sounds really beautiful in theory, but here's the elephant in the room. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. The challenges to create and grow new educational projects are multiple, and there's many that don't survive. And one of the reasons might be that once you leave the mainstream, there are many streams.
Just don't wait for perfect venues. Use whatever you can get. If you can only use it for an hour, use it for an hour, but get started, right? We sometimes waited much too long to kind of get something that was usable full time, but things only really kicked in for Riverstone Village when we hired a scout hall 4 days a week, because that's what we could afford on almost nothing. And that's what also helped draw the people together, which is the other part of it, is that the reason that you need to start something as soon as possible, whatever it is to draw the people together. There's almost always a split in your community in the first year that can rip it apart and kill it, right? And that comes from not having people on the same page, because the words sound the same and people have got completely different ideas around what those words mean.
Why are you wanting something other? So you need to achieve a level of clarity on this for yourself as an individual, and you need to then be able to explore and express that in your family unit, you know. But I'm thinking really local. I'm thinking, who is in my town? Who else has kids the similar age as mine? Oftentimes families that are drawn to attachment parenting styles, or basically non-dominator, you know, patriarchal colonial parenting styles, find these theories and this philosophy like appealing, because they're already not wanting to power over their kids. They're wanting their children to grow as themselves, to grow in a whole way, as we've said before. So for me, it started with like, okay, what can I do to like build community on that to start off with when my children were really little? So it started with offering a free local meetup at the local woods. Who wants to come? You put it out there, you signal in what you say, like, we're going to go at the pace of the children. Baby carriers, so welcome. Or, you know, come, do you want to be in nature? There are certain themes that tend to be common.
We saw we saw the possibilities of democratic schools, self-directed learning centers, consent-based education. Was like, this needs to be available to more people. We need to do something about it. Let's put all our energies into it. But for many families, it comes out of a trauma that their children had in school. That maybe they even moved from school to school until they realized that the problem wasn't the child, but the school system and structure itself. And then they're looking for something different. And then just using these words and this vocabulary to help people explain what happened, it's already really powerful.
So we're very much open to working collaboratively with families, but it's within a framework. Some things can move and some things cannot move, but you need to know what cannot move and where can it, so that you can build those good relationships.
Let's say financially, you start feeling like you actually need to do a bit of selling and get a broader base of families in, and those families start giving you pressure to compromise on things that really feel to you uncomfortable or fundamental. You want to be very, very careful, because if you're going to compromise on those things, you might keep those families for a little longer, or you might not, because their objections might actually go further, but you will start losing the people who are running towards. They will no longer be interested in your setting, and you'll lose your strongest part of your core group. You'll lose your foundation. So you want the parents to have opportunities to hear from the other parents about their own experiences, and when they had doubts, to kind of work with and onboard the other people in the space. And let's remember who some of those other people are, because it's often easy to not notice this at the beginning. The extended families, best friends, and neighbors of your families, right, have an enormous impact. It's not enough to just onboard the actual parents who are signing up to your space. You need to give them support and capacity to onboard their social networks, because otherwise they can just start to get so much pushback from people who don't understand.
So there's different contexts, right? And so maybe getting a different message at home. Okay, at home, maybe it's not self-directed at home. Maybe it's not democratic or consensus at home. But the idea is, you know, different settings and different times call for different things.
All those fears come because everyone wants the best for children. Like, I think that pretty much everyone really wants the best, but then, yeah, how that looks like varies a lot. And then having the opportunity to create those safe spaces in which, as you all mentioned, trust, clarity, coherence is there, that gives that possibility to keep a dialogue. So how do you reach that balance between financial sustainability and equitable access?
To diversify, right? To get multiple streams of income. And some of the settings I've been involved with, they actually have a business that's connected with the setting. But I would also say, looking at it from an entrepreneurial standpoint, to expand and look for opportunities like that. I know some schools, they have, you know, they have donors, they have sustainers, you know, they have that kind of thing as well, which can also be really helpful.
Keep your official fee high enough. If you fall into the trap of making your fee look affordable to everybody, you are still going to get a lot of requests for financial aid.
You know, when we were working out our pricing, we looked like, what are holiday clubs in our area charging per day for, you know, the childcare that parents pay for during school holiday?
What processes have you found instrumental in revealing and addressing imbalances in power dynamics?
Making sure there's the time for those processes.
I think the most important thing is modeling. It's like, you can say what you like, you can talk about the theory, but until the children see it, especially if they've come from coercive environments, they're just not going to believe it's true.
One quick word, and that stayed with me and that I see in all of you, and it's role modeling that authenticity that you put into everything that you do. And this is how these learning spaces happen, right? When we're on, all of us, in our own process of personal development and sharing with vulnerability, also things that we don't know, we're figuring out, we want to learn together, we want to grow together, and we're bringing out the challenges. We're talking about money, we're talking about power dynamics, we're talking about things that are difficult to talk about, but are important. Otherwise, we won't change anything if we just keep hiding them and in the carpet and just moving on to the next topic of the book, because the next topic of the book is not talking about this ever. So thank you very much for bringing it up and for talking about the elephant in the room today, about how to grow and sustain learning communities.
I love only super quick the process. Enjoy the process. I know it's hard. It's good. Like you all say, there's gonna be a lot of mistakes, a lot of things that go well, a lot of things that go bad. But we are learning. We are together. There is a community of people that is doing their best, and yeah, we are here. So